feature the number 2 Florida Gators as they welcome the number 5 Auburn Tigers. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. I'm Mark Connor, and I'm thrilled to be alongside my fellow Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark. Kathy, not only two great teams tonight, but two of the biggest names in NCAA gymnastics history competing.
Suni Lee, last year's NCAA being champion, and of course the 2020 Olympic all-around champion, and Trinity Thomas, NCAA all-around champion last year, winner of 2 individual events. For more on Trinity, let's go down to the floor with our own Sam Pescic.
Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, Trinity has already made history, but she's on her way to breaking another record. She already has 21 perfect career 10 so far, just 8 more, and she's got the new record. To put it in context, she scored a perfect 10 in her last 5 consecutive meets, so she's right on track. Between Sunisa Lee, Trinity Thomas, and all the other superstars, you've got to be looking out for these big scores tonight.
You're right, Sam, and we're looking forward to this meet. Not only some of the finest gymnasts in the country, but in the world competing tonight here in Gainesville, Florida. There is graduate student Trinity Thomas, and of course there is the reigning Olympic all-around champion Suni Lee, who was announced this will be her final year in NCAA competition. She's going to give it one more shot to get ready for the Olympics in Paris for 2024. So a big night here. Sold out crowd at the Exact Tech Arena. They've sold out the last 12 of 15 meets here. Florida Gymnastics last year just second at the NCAA championships by a little over 1/10 of a point. They are very hungry, and we get the meet started off on vault tonight with the home team. Bree Edwards, the sophomore from Navarre, Florida, will lead them off.
Great event for Florida to start. Bree Edwards is going to perform a full twisting Yurchenko. It's a round-off entry vault. You'll see her place her hands down at the end of the run before the board, round off onto the board, reach back hard and fast to that table for an optimal block, because the judges are really looking for height and distance on these vaults, and of course, perfect shape for the skill. Watch for the layout position and the full twist. Lots the landing. Oh, a big bounce back. Unfortunately, they'll have to take a deduction for that hop. It's such a nice position in the air. She really gets that nice straight tight body in the layout position.
And for Auburn, the visiting Tigers, senior Adeline Sabados, they call her Addie. She has scored well on bars throughout her career for the Auburn Tigers.
One thing Auburn wants to do is attack these handstands, just like that first one. Beautiful height on that raise, that single bar release on the high bar. Here's her transition to low. Just a little leg separation going into that bail handstand. Final cast a tiny bit short. See if she can get this landing. We're going to need some big sticks here. That was a pike down of that double layout, so they'll deduct a little bit for that position, piking down, and then the hop.
She said it's her favorite event because it feels like she's doing the impossible, defying gravity.
A line by
Addie Sabados from Castle Rock, Colorado, leading it off for Auburn. Okay, back over to the vault now. Kate Richards, the senior from Mokina, Illinois, will be next to go. Last week, you see, she had 9.75 on vault. Florida, one of the deepest teams in the country. They are 8 or 9 deep on every event. Bree Edwards led them off with a 9.775.
Katie's vault looks so good in warm-up. She's got a short, fast run. This is a 1.5 twist. Oh, she was going for the stick, got a little ahead of herself, so she under-rotated. Unfortunately, that's more of a deduction when you under-rotate the vault, because you get the deduction for the length of the step and for the under-rotation.
Expecting a close competition tonight, and of course there's a lot of attention on people like Suni Lee, but Auburn would have been in the top 10 in NCAA last year, even without Suni Lee. So Jeff Grava and his program really on the rise there. Olivia Hollingsworth is a superstar in the making, Kathy.
Absolutely strong on all 4 events. Nice first handstand. Here's her transition to the high bar. Called Maloney, a little bit of leg separation there. Looking for vertical on that final handstand. And full out, love that dismount. Double back with a full twist. She really waits and twists on that final somersault. Nicely done.
Addie Sabados led them off with a 9-8. This will get a good score as well.
That Maloney from low bar to high bar, you're going to see a lot in this competition. Many of the gymnasts do.
Talk about the stars for Florida. There'll be a lot of focus on Trinity Thomas, but how about Leanne Wong? 4 All-American honors last year, a high among all freshmen at the NCAA championships. A world medalist in the all-around for the U.S. Peyton Richards, her score 9.725. Florida yet to break into the 9-8 or above.
Complicated vault, round of entry. Half onto the table, half off in a tight position. Very difficult vault. It's a 10-0 start value. And she really does that vault quite well. Can't quite get the landing yet. But really complex vault. Half twist onto the table. Front pike with a half twist off. She just piked into that landing a little bit more than she needed to, so her hips were back when her feet made contact with the mat, forcing her to take a step.
She has scored perfect 10s on both vault and bars in her young career. Also competing as an international elite. Back now to Auburn. Sophia Grove coming after Olivia Hollingsworth got the second 9-8 in a row for the Tigers.
Another gymnast performing that ray, that single bar release move. Tack salto down to the low bar. Very nicely done on that handstand pirouette on low bar. Really want to see those pirouettes finish in handstand. She was trying to sell that final handstand. She was just a little bit short. But wow, came up big time on that landing. Maybe that's going to start something because both of these teams really have not stuck landings yet. Check this out. Single bar release. 2 feet above the bar. Manages to keep those legs straight. And the dismount made more difficult by doing that full pirouette into the double tap.
You mentioned she's 2 feet above the bar. That means at any one point, she's at least 10 feet in the air. Amazing. Talk about somebody who can fly. Here is graduate student Trinity Thomas.
She doesn't just fly. She flips and twists. Almost got the stick. Oh, just a little stutter step. She has really become such an uncanny sticker on all of her skills. Knows where she is in the air, but she gets height, distance, nearly 5 feet at the hips off the table, and just that shuffle backwards with her feet. Pretty darn good ball.
It's brilliant when you see the combination of power and precise technique and form. Trinity Thomas setting and breaking every record at the University of Florida, and here in her graduate year has a chance to set a new record in perfect 10s. As Sam mentioned earlier, she had 12 perfect 10s last year, 3 of them on the vault.
One of the hardest events really to get that 10-0 because sticking a vault after so much speed, power, it's such a dynamic event, can be tricky to find that landing.
Senior all-arounder for Auburn now, Cassie Stevens.
She'll open with the ray right here, out of the toe hand. There's that vertical handstand right on top of the bar. Okay, good landing. A little bit of a pike down.
2 sticks in a row, though.
Some soft knees and feet form, just minor.
Sophia Groth before her, a 9.825. freshman Kayla DiCello out of Boys, Maryland. She did her club training at Hills Gymnastics with Kelly Hill. Great to have her here, the 2021 World All-Around Bronze medalist and a replacement athlete for the Olympics in 2020.
And Bart, I believe she's doing the 1.5 twist. I can't see the placard that flashes the ball, but she'll either do a full. A 1.5, she went for it. Well done. This is one of the first times she's actually done that ball on the hard ground, and it's just different the first time you're trying to land it on the hard ground. Good for her.
Kathy, it's really interesting because I spoke to Associate Head Coach Adrian Burdett yesterday and today, and he assured me that she was not going to do the 1.5. If she wasn't in that 6th spot, she was just going to do a full. So good to see she landed that one.
That is a big hurdle for her because I know that she had some nerves with it.
She gets congratulated by Savannah Shane here, who broke her foot the other day before their opening meet. They hope to have her back in the lineup later on. Now watch this. This is Darian Goborn. Talk about somebody who can really fly.
Huge amplitude, especially on that pack salto down to the low bar. She is just so dynamic and aggressive in all of her gymnastics. And check out the height on this dismount. It's a full twisting double back, and she just flies. She released the bar just a touch early, so it went out a little bit farther away from the bars than usual. And when you do that, it's so hard to find the landing. But check out the amplitude with a capital A. So 2 feet above the bar on the single bar release, and her pack salto down to the low bar. Nice straight body, good form on that. Oh, just not quite on the landing.
If you're like me and you start...
Back to vault for Florida. Trinity Thomas had a 9.925. Kayla DiCello a 9.9. Now Chloe Clark, they made a lineup change here just a few minutes ago. Jenny Rowland can do that any way she wants. Chloe Clark will be the final vaulter for Florida here in this rotation.
Finishing off with a nice clean full, and notice I believe she landed in between those lines. That's new this year. They have direction lines on the vault for the judges to use to determine whether the gymnast has stayed perfectly in line with the table.
There are a number of vault and rules changes in the NCAA gymnastics. That one is one of the easiest ones to point out because obviously the lines, although there's no specific deduction for them, they give the judges a guide. And of course, here is the reigning Olympic all-around champion, Suni Lee, coming after Darian Goborn had a 9.875.
And this routine is just breathtakingly beautiful, effortless with her swing, her technique, so precise. Look at the height, the perfect form, and the transition from bar to bar, back and forth with extremely difficult skills. So two single bar release moves, another release move down to the low bar, finishes with a giant fall. Oh, just didn't stick the landing on the double tuck, but the rest, wow. I could watch Suni Lee swing bars all day, and I think she could swing bars all day.
We watched her in the warm-ups, and she went over and over. I mean, it looks, if you can do it this well, it must be just fun.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That is blimp-worthy. Just fabulous. And she nailed every one of these in warm-ups. It's just a little too easy for her, that this one.
Her form and execution and flight just takes your breath away. Last year, Florida missed out on a championship by just over 1/10 of a point. They're more determined than ever to win a championship this year. And we'll have that story when we come back to Gainesville.